Before I begin, I can't help but appreciate the courage and sincerity of these young ladies who are trying hard to balance between their faith and education. I'm also very impressed with Muskan Khan, the lady who stood up for herself in a very stressful situation. And these pictures of Muskan circulating without a hijab are also fake, clearly meant to discredit her. The lady in these pictures is Nazma Nazir Chikanarle of Janata Dal Secular Karnataka and not Muskan. This hijab controversy clearly seems to be politically motivated, and the way some college students in Karnataka behaved is ungentlemanly, to say the least. Speaking out of heart, these young ladies are on the right side by standing up for themselves and what they believe in. However, the cause they are fighting for, that is hijab in schools, is not getting much support, and there are three reasons for that. The first one being the nature of hijab itself. Then there is an anti-hijab trend across the West, even in Saudi Arabia, and lastly, the regression and corruption of liberal ideology that is supporting this cause. Unlike the Sikh turban that is a symbol of freedom and universal help, hijab is a symbol of imprisonment and oppression. According to the Quran, Muslim women are mandated to cover themselves up so that they are recognizable as Muslims and therefore not molested. This verse is popularly understood in the Islamic society to justify molestation if it happens to a lady who does not cover up. Similarly, if something bad happens to a lady who is not a Muslim, then it is her fault as well for not being a Muslim. Whatever happens, it is always a woman's fault. Classic victim blaming. Over the years, Muslim community across the world have used hijab to control over its women through either fear of society or God. Nowadays, there is a popular narrative that hijab is a choice and a symbol of empowerment in a bid to normalize this piece of clothing. Today, hijab is a choice only for few privileged women, most of whom are living in the West. Today, the Islamic community still supports and therefore empowers women who cover themselves up. If a Muslim woman chooses not to adhere by the Islamic values, then she is not popularly supported by this community. I will give you an example for this later in the video when I talk about corruption in liberal values. Meanwhile, if Muskan was not wearing a hijab in this video, then the people shouting at her would most probably have been her friends, family and community in green. In the words of YouTuber and open letter, symbols of oppression cannot be widely accepted as it is. That is why they are given fanciful names like empowerment and choice. After the Arab Springs in 2010 and later expansion of ISIS across the Middle East, many Muslims migrated to Europe as refugees, leading to a direct clash between Islamic and Western values, following which many European countries like Sweden, Denmark, Belgium, Norway and Australia banned burqa and niqab. Now, burqa and niqab is different from hijab. A burqa covers full body including the eyes. It has a mesh screen where the eyes are so that women can see. Burqa is most popular in Afghanistan. Niqab is a similar piece of clothing except there is an opening for eyes, and hijab is just a scarf that covers head and chest but not the face. Then there is also abaya and the chadar that covers everything except the face. These are worn in Saudi Arabia and Iran respectively. In India, hijab, niqab, burqa and abaya, all of them are considered the same and are seen as regressive. This confusion is the reason why people are getting angry at Malala so much. Malala approves of hijab in Karnataka that she herself wears, but she disapproves the burqa that is worn in northern Pakistan and Afghanistan. Since this video is about an Indian issue, whenever I say hijab, I mean all of the religious clothing worn by Muslim women. Now, most countries have only banned burqa and niqab, but not the hijab, except for France. France follows hard secularism or laïcité and does not allow any religious symbols in its school and government offices, including the hijab. Just like Western countries, Saudi Arabia is also doing away with hijab, niqab and abaya. In 2019, the kingdom made it optional for women to cover themselves up.
The laws are very clear and stipulated in the laws of Sharia that women wear decent, respectful clothing like men. This, however, does not particularly specify a black abaya or a black head cover. The decision is entirely left for women to decide what type of decent and respectful attire she chooses to wear.
And by 2021, there were mixed gender concerts in the country. And if you don't know how big of a deal this is, then let me tell you, in Islam, free mixing of genders is forbidden. Dancing, forbidden. Music, forbidden. Tattoos, forbidden. Women showing skin, forbidden. Men and women dancing on the beach in swimsuits in Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam, Not China. It seems Saudi Arabia is the most hated country among Muslims today. Voluntary rejection of hijab under materially developed Islamic countries like Saudi Arabia and UAE, along with the global anti-hijab movement, is one of the reasons why people are quietly accepting the ban of hijab in Karnataka. A cause is only as good as the quality of its supporters. If a social cause is being supported by people of high quality and integrity, its legitimacy increases. If a cause is being supported by people of low character, then it is not widely accepted, despite having legitimate demands. The cause of hijab in schools is being supported by liberals and Islamists. Now, liberalism is a very good ideology. It teaches us to accept our differences, be kind and fair towards each other, and take care of people in need. Today, however, the liberal ideology is on a decline, mainly because of their blind protest against anything that does not fit in their narrow point of view. A modern liberal's unwillingness to understand nuanced arguments also makes them unsavory people to interact with. But in the context of this video, the biggest downfall of the liberal ideology is because of their appeasing attitude. Here's the thing. Whenever someone appeases a community by giving them special treatment and ignoring their mistakes, then that person is being unfair to other communities, making them unhappy. This is a very important point. And to make it sink in, here's a video of two monkeys in a science experiment. One of the monkeys is given a tasty grape, and the other one a not so tasty cucumber for doing the same task. Just observe how the monkey who gets a cucumber reacts. Just like monkeys, humans also don't like to be treated unfairly. If you live in a metropolitan city like I do, then you must have definitely noticed that how Hindus who wear religious clothes and symbols are laughed and cringed upon. Whereas if someone from a minority community does the same, it is beautiful. Shekhar Gupta in his video explains how appeasement by Congress during the Shah Bano case in the 80s sowed seed of the strong Hindu nationalism that is today. The left and liberal community's appeasement of a particular religion over the years has created so much discontent among the country's majority that they are not even willing to listen to the most rational arguments by liberal influencers. The support of hijab in schools by Pakistan and Taliban has further weakened the cause and tarnished the image of liberals. In fact, corruption of liberals by racist and bigoted individuals is one of the reasons why no one takes them seriously anymore. Over the years, extremists, racist and bigoted individuals have learned the high cost of openly expressing their discrimination. They learned that they cannot beat liberals, so they joined them and started expressing their discrimination in a very nuanced and sophisticated way. Some of them even became heroes of the liberal community. I keep an eye on Islamic influencers across the globe, and they really like to push woke narratives. A close examination of their content reveals that they only support Muslim women who are religious, that too in their narrow opinion. Global Islamic influencers are wholeheartedly supporting hijab in Karnataka schools. But last month, when the Sulli deals controversy erupted that even caused a rift in India's right wing, most of these influencers were silent. Do you know why? Because the victims in the Sulli deals case were outspoken liberal Muslim women. Today, if an Islamophobic event takes place with a liberal Muslim woman, then the community is silent at best, and I don't want to talk about the worst. The oppressive nature of hijab and low legitimacy of people supporting the cause are the reasons why people won't care much if hijab gets banned tomorrow. I'm sure by now you must have already figured out that morally I'm not on the side of hijab. Still, it would be interesting to look at consequences if hijab is allowed to continue today. Yes, practicing religion is a fundamental right, and hijab can be seen as a religious practice. But after what has happened in Karnataka, if hijab is allowed in schools, then Hindu students would demand wearing different kinds of tilaks, ghungats, and religious bangles and lockets over their uniforms. And if their demand is not met, then that would be unfair. And I already showed you the consequence of unfairness. However, if religion is allowed to become a significant part in school life, then there will be groups among children based on religion. There will be fighting based on religion, and people from a very young age will start seeing the world through the filters of religion. In turn, this would create a very biased and hateful society. And I'm sure none of us want that. Before February 2022, no one really cared if Hindus wore religious symbols to schools or not. Frankly, parents don't want religion in their kids' school. But today, if hijab is allowed in all of schools, then I've already told you what will happen. Luckily, we have a solution. If hijab is classified as a personal choice, like in Saudi Arabia, rather than a religious obligation, then hijab and all similar types of clothing would come out of the scope of right to religion, after which all the schools, except for religious ones, can ban hijab and other religious symbols to create a secular environment for kids to learn in. Today, this issue is not that of future of our country. Neither it is about equality, religion or Constitution of India. At its core, this issue is about women empowerment. Clothing like hijab, burqa and ghungat physically and psychologically bind women by the shackles of religion and society. And the progress of a woman in a society is determined by how they treat these symbols of oppression. Hindu women just hate ghungat. Women who wear ghungat today usually come from conservative and backward regions. You will rarely see a successful Hindu woman wearing a ghungat. The only exception I can think right now is that of our first female president, Pratibha Patil. She wore ghungat while she was in office. And while I totally commend her for all her achievements in her life, I think her image with ghungat did not represent the aspirations of modern Indian women. There's no doubt, just like ghungat, hijab is also a symbol of oppression and backwardness. And symbols like these cannot be normalized, especially among young minds. Thank you ladies and gentlemen for coming over to my vlog. I will see you soon.